Hi everyone, so it's me Shonda, and if you're tuning into this video, you are watching the sixth video of a 7-part video series called Intro to the 7 Chakras. If this is your first time tuning in, go back and check out the other 5 videos. They are very informative. This is a great series if you have been curious about chakras, don't know what chakras are, they represent, or anything like that. This is a good jump start to getting you going to at least understanding a basic concept of those chakras. There are plenty of chakras, but I specifically focus on the 7 most common ones that lie in the energetic body as well as the physical body. If you have been watching, sharing, liking, tagging, know that I greatly appreciate you for helping me share this message. I thank you. Up above are links to my newsletter that you can sign up for to receive more information and updates about the upcoming All About the Chakras course that we'll be teaching, as well as other things that I sell, chakra bracelets. I have a chakra collection on my website. So if you're somebody who likes to have themed stuff, or if you want to work with more chakra energy, check out some of the things that I offer. And I think that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right into this video. So we are on day 6, and this is the third eye chakra. And the third eye is the most popular as well as the most misunderstood chakra. Before I kind of get more into the information of it, I'm going to talk about that. And then as I talk about what I have for y'all, maybe to help with some clarity in your mind, to have a better understanding of what this chakra is and not necessarily what it is assumed to be. So, when we hear third eye chakra, we hear artists and songs all the time saying third eye open, third eye this, third eye that. It's like, what does it mean? When you see it depicted on TV and in movies and different things like that, you see a third eye in the middle of the forehead, like it's an actual eye. And truthfully, or factually, whatever, the third eye is represented with it being in the middle of your forehead. And it's also connected to the pineal gland, which lies in our brain. And it's the size of a piece of uncooked rice. It's that tiny. But it is in alignment to the actual spot of where your third eye is supposed to be. So when you see things and you see the 2 eyes and the third eye, it's symbolic of the third eye being there. But your third eye does not see like your physical eye sees. If you hear people saying, I use that a lot as well, your mind's eye, that's what it means. It's what seeing with your mind. I'm not trying to explain it. I find difficulty putting that into words, but if I could put it in a place where everybody understands, think about when you imagine or you daydream and you could pull visions together of whatever it is that you may daydream about. It's kind of like that. So, and also in a way, the things that your third eye sees could be not even explainable. You might find yourself saying, I can't even explain what it is I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing it with my third eye. I will just briefly say this. There was a time in 2016, and it was, I kind of was learning about the chakras, but it wasn't like major. But I remember that I was praying that I wanted my life to change, and I'm like, I'm just kind of fed up with a lot of things, This is not working for me, and I prayed for change every day. I did. And I remember one night my eyes were open, but I was seeing not with my eyes. And I remember saying, I see myself walking into my destiny. and I could see it so clearly. But I was like, it's not like I see a bird or a tree or an ink pen. It was a thing that I couldn't even explain, and I didn't know what that means. And from that point on, I went through this major life shift. And I mean, I'm not about to get into that, but my point is, sometimes your third eye, your mind's eye, see things that you can't necessarily explain or understand, but some type of way you may just know what it means. I don't know. Like I said, this one may be a little bit complicated for me to explain because I understand it in my mind, but I'm gonna just do my best with this. But this one is just so interesting because it's tied with your intuition and being, and it's driven by openness and imagination. So if you think about children, their third eye tends to be opened because, and even if you hear children talk about seeing things, or they have imaginary friends, or they are great at imagination, creating stories in their mind, because their third eye is very open. As we become older, we get more programmed to living in society. Your third eye closes, or it becomes dormant or inactive because you are so focused on the living of shuffling through each day that your third eye is closed, and you're not really using that imagination aspect of your mind anymore or as much. And if you want to be like, okay, imagination, so think about even visualization, like even like with meditation and things like that, or even with the chakras, like you can visualize a certain color of the chakra to help with clearing. Visualization, imagination, kind of the same thing, okay? Because you can visualize. You have to put it clearly in your mind what it is that you want, or sometimes images pop up through visualization. And it's kind of just like using your imagination, okay? So all of this, some people might be watching and be like, what is she talking about? This is very different, I guess you could say, from all of the other chakras, because there's going to be this one, and it's going to be the crown as well, the one we do tomorrow, because the other ones, they seem more concrete. They seem like they could be more relatable to some physical aspects of something, whether it's a physical, the physical body, or even the emotional body. But with your third eye and your crown chakra, it is more relatable in a spiritual aspect, I guess you can say. I mean, even though your pineal gland is a physical part of your body, is also something that people don't even know even exists, may not even have heard of it. So that's why I say it's a little bit different with understanding this one. Even the concept of truly trying to understand the third eye and all that it entails can be a little bit hard to grasp for some people, okay? So your third eye is tied to your intuition, and with your intuition, do you know what your intuition is, first of all? A lot of people don't even know what that means. Or people say, oh, a woman's intuition, I know he doing something he ain't got no business. But my question is, why do you only trust your intuition when you're trying to see if a man is doing something he got no business? If you can trust it then to be correct, why are you not grooming that to be right all the time, or to trust it all the time to lead you to the truth, or to whatever your reality is? So people who have imbalances, let me get into that first. They could feel stuck in their daily grind. And like I said, with children, the third eye is open. They are imaginative. They are just free, and they're creative. And if they see their imaginary friend, Big Boo, Billy Bob, that is what they see, and that's what they believe. And so But when they have the imbalance of it being blocked, you can't even see what's moving around you because you're so focused on shuffling through life. So that's considered an imbalance. An overactive one, and I'm going to tie this with a couple of things, can be believing that your fantasies seem more real than reality. And this could go along with mental confusion as well as mental illness. So here's the deal with third eye. It is a very popular one. You know, I'm in several groups and a few specific to third eye, understanding the third eye. And a lot of the first questions, people, how do I open my third eye? I want my third eye open. How do I want my third eye? And I think that people think that opening your third eye means something like opening a jar. And this is not the case. You really should work on your other chakras before you attempt to open your third eye. And I say this because when your third eye is open, you truly see everything for what it is. Okay? And when you have not dealt with fear that's in you or all of those other imbalances that's caused by the other chakras, and you do things to forcefully open your third eye, because people do, then you end up in a place of mental confusion and perceiving things that may not be there or too much for your mind to understand. So I'm trying to see how I can say this without it. Sometimes when people open their third eye too quickly, they tend to lose their mind because some people are not ready to deal with truth in all of its truth, if that makes sense. So you could, without properly working on yourself, and if you forcefully open your third eye, people tend to lose their minds. I've heard that. They get disconnected from reality and can tend to live in a fantasy world. If you watch the show called The Resident, and I love it, they had a very good episode this week, and it was about she had some type of condition going on from a teratoma. Y'all know what a teratoma is. Take Hope class. Go Google it. But she had a teratoma and it was causing psychological issues in her mind. But the things that she's seen and how she couldn't differentiate from imagination and reality is kind of a good example of rushing to open your third eye. When I seen that episode, I thought it was a good example because she's seen things that weren't there, but her mind was telling her otherwise, and she didn't know whether she was awake or if she was asleep. Okay, so I'm saying that because that's probably what can happen if you attempt to open your third eye and you are not properly prepared for it. It becomes a mind playing tricks on you type situation in a way. Some people, and I mean, I can't say if it's true or not because everybody is different, but people talk about seeing beings and different things like that. Yes, it is quite possible if your mind is not ready to process things, or if your mind just cannot handle accepting that sometimes things are more than what we see with our two eyes. I'm treading very lightly, if you don't notice that with this one. But so people with mental illness such as schizophrenia and things like that, I'm still researching this, so don't say, oh, she told me this, and no, I'm still really learning. But it is quite possible that these people have a very overactive third eye, because especially with schizophrenia. And if you know someone with schizophrenia, or if you know anything about schizophrenia, and if you understand the third eye, then you will understand what I'm saying, how that could be connected. So that's why I find mental illness or mental health awareness, I should say, is extremely important. I think we should not be so quick to write people off and call them crazy. I don't like when people are called crazy, because there's a root to everything. And I just think it's important to get to their root to understand people's behavior. So if you are dealing with somebody in your family, or you have friends, or you know someone who may be dealing with mental health issues, it is good to be empathetic and maybe assist them in getting the help that they may need. Now, I'm not talking about these recent situations, and like I said, I don't get into the news or the politics, and how when people do evil and discriminatory things, they get quick to be called mentally disturbed or mentally ill. Evil is not a cover for mental illness, and mental illness is not a crutch for those who are truly evil. I just wanted to put that out there. But there are many people who do suffer, and there needs to be more awareness. And there also needs to be more understanding of the chakras, I feel, is in the medical world, not just in the spiritual world, to help us better understand humans and the evolution, of the collective that is going on right now. I think all things need to be considered, all things need to be observed. But that is my opinion. So just put my opinion out with that. But your third eye, it is associated with the Illuminati and something evil. And the reason why I could say it must be associated with the Illuminati, because when your third eye is open, it is considered an illumination. It is a opening. It is basically walking into the light, because you get to see things clearly for what they are. And when your third eye is open, you tend to be clairvoyant, and you tend to be clairaudient. And clairvoyance is like the visualization. You see things happening or before they can happen. It's not no weird fortune telling, demonic witchcraft type thing, because every single human has this ability. Some better than others. Some people are more intuitive than others, and this has a lot to do with many other things. But everybody has the ability to be more intuitive, to be clairvoyant, to be clairaudient. And to be clairaudient is the hearing. So sometimes when people say they get a message from spirit, for example, and it could be a knowing, but it also could be a hearing. And it's not necessarily a hearing like with the physical ears. And again, that is something hard to explain, and I won't get so deep into that. But I just also wanted to make y'all aware that basically your third eye is something of clarity. And so if it is something that can give you complete clarity in situations, and I think that how can that be evil to want to trust your intuition, which is your higher self, which is your self, meaning your higher self connected to God. So these messages, I guess you could say, or these downloads, how some of you who are watching this, y'all know what I'm saying, comes from God, comes from source, comes from the Most High. I use all of that interchangeably, by the way. But trusting your intuition is not evil, because when I talk to a lot of different people and they ask me, how can I trust my intuition more easily? Because we are so stuck in that programmed and fearful way of thinking that if it is not given to us and spoon-fed to us by a physical source on this planet, then it must not be right. And you have to believe this as a way to understand or trust your intuition more if you are struggling, that your higher self will not lead you to harm. And the more you believe that, the more you're able to trust your intuition. And the more that you do that, your intuition truly becomes your guide. So if you are somebody who doesn't trust their intuition, and I went through a period of that, and I'll give you an example. So I was walking out the house one morning, and as I was walking out the house, something in my mind told me to grab something. And I looked at the object, and I'm like, no, And do you know, by 1:45 p.m. that day, that same object my mind told me, directly made me look at to get, I needed it. And then after that day, I started to work really, really hard on trusting my intuition. So that is my point, is with your third eye, to help it become more open, to help you gain the clarity that comes with having an open third eye. Your intuition is key. You really need to learn how to start trusting that. Let's see, another imbalance is not being able to establish a vision for yourself. You don't see any type of vision when you try to think to your future or for your life. It is just not clear at all. And that's a good example of it being blocked, because if it's not clear, if you can't form a vision in your mind, you're having issues with visualization, and then it's going back to the child with imagination. Some adults struggle with visualization because sometimes as children, adults tell children things, and it's not necessarily to destroy the children, but it's to, I don't know. So, I mean, adults say things not necessarily out of anger or anything. You know how adults just say things? I mean, I'm guilty of that. I've telling my kids crazy things before. Not disrespectful, but like, oh, just stop with all that nonsense or whatever. And many adults struggle with visualization because as children, they may have been told, oh, stop all that pretending. Stop acting stupid. Stop doing this and that. And that saying that causes that shift to make you children stop daydreaming completely, because why daydream? And I used to tell myself that as a child, like, why am I daydreaming? This is never going to happen. And I had to get back to a place where my mind was opening to daydreaming and creating and visualizing to try to see what it is that I wanted for my life, or just anything, for my life, for my future, with my goals. And the more that I focused and I harnessed on working on an aspect of something that I knew I had lost, the better it became. So if you're blocked, it's good to sit down and try to formulate a vision for your life and your mind. A question I like to ask is this, and this puts you on a path to trying to get creative and opening your mind, and at least creating a vision in your mind. If you woke up tomorrow morning $500 million richer, you didn't have to go to work, you didn't have anything else to do, you are a multimillionaire, you go and lay naked on the beach if you want, what it is you would still do, not because you're getting paid for it, because you don't need the money, but because you love it. And it can take a while to answer this question, okay? You may sit on this question for weeks, sometimes even months, trying to figure out what it is that I would really do with my life if I didn't have to worry about the daily shuffle and bustle of life, that daily grinding, looking down, just keeping it moving. What would I do with my life? And when you figure this out, you begin to get on a path of understanding what your purpose is, but then it awakens something in you to start to visualize and create a vision in your mind. Let's see. Another imbalance is rejection of spiritual or anything beyond the usual. I'm going to say this is very common in people who are deeply rooted in their religion. Many people will take what they may hear in religion, or they may take the Bible and only use parts of it for their benefits and for their argument when they are trying to disrespect another person's belief, and that's all they see. Their mind is not open to the possibility of all things. And I can't speak for everybody, but I know my path of spirituality has taught me to be open and understanding to the possibility of all things and to respect all religions and beliefs, because at the end of the day, I don't care about all the different religions and all the different things they say. We all know there is only one creator. We all believe that there is a higher power. So whatever it takes for a person to get to whatever, for them to understand that God is very real, let that person take whatever those steps to get there, to know that God, the Most High, Source, Abba, Ra, whatever words you use, whatever it is, we are all talking about the same thing, okay? And people with blocked third eyes, they can't see that. It's like it either has to be their religion and their God, or it's nothing at all. And that's very closed-minded to live in a world of over 7 billion people and have this belief. Let's see, not being able to see the bigger picture. Lack of clarity, narrow-mindedness. Some physical symptoms could be headaches, migraines, vision problems, and sinus problems. And, to balance it, meditation, of course, mindfulness, color therapy is great. I'm wearing purple. Self-inquiry and self-reflection, going within, observing what is your views, how are your views differing from those around you. Be willing to open your perception more than what it is currently. Really evaluating you and what it is you truly believe in and the validity of those beliefs. Let's see, decalcify your pineal gland. This is major. A couple of tips to decalcify your pineal gland is to avoid fluoridated water, fluoridated toothpaste, tap water. You could put more turmeric in your diet, and there's several other things you could do to decalcify your pineal gland, because once it's not used, and like I said, growing up, becoming an adult, it becomes to get decalcified, and you lose the inability to see things clearly, and it actually hardens and it calcifies. And so there are different things you can do to heal your pineal glands, because if it's calcified, it's very hard for it to be active. Think about an egg that's in a shell, all right? And your pineal gland is the yolk inside that egg. And that shell, that calcification needs to be cracked off for it to fully be utilized like it should. This is very ancient knowledge, proven knowledge. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, like I always say, go to Google. I read a ton of books. Pick up a book, read a book to learn more about this, if it's just like she's talking fooling. Let's see, sunlight. Sunlight is so good. If you get into like sun gazing, research it. I don't mean you want to stare up at the sun with your bare eyes. Also moon gazing. I've been learning about that recently. But these things help to balance your third eye. And of course, becoming an observer of your thoughts. What you think is what becomes. So you need to pay attention to your thoughts. Thoughts you keep as well as the words you speak. But specifically those thoughts that you are holding on to in your mind. And if they are thoughts of constriction, if they are thoughts of being limited beliefs, if they are thoughts of not trying to have a fully understanding that all things are quite possible in this world. Let's see. So that's about it. I thought it would be a lot more that I got into, but as I kind of got my notes together for this chakra, I'm like, this is a deep one. But some takeaways, I guess, what I want you to do is know that the third eye is nothing evil because it resides in your body. So if you believe that your third eye is some evil, then you must believe that you are evil, okay? So we cannot be selective in the things we choose to dictate that this is wrong, but this is right when, you know, come on. I'm going to say this. If you are very closed-minded right now, it is time to open your mind. I mean, I don't know if you are looking at the shifts going around you right now, but you need to be in a place where you are very dependent on your intuition to lead you the correct way, because there are a lot of corrupt things going on. There are a lot of people with malicious intent going on. There are a lot of people who are pretending and faking the funk, who are taking advantage of people in the spiritual world. And we already dealing with that in the physical world, with people taking advantage of. But with the spiritual, it is so much different. And there's truly a spiritual warfare going on. So it's not about you having to trust and believe everything another person is saying to you. You need to get to a point where you are trusting yourself. You are trusting your higher self to guide you, to really order your steps. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it with this one. I'm kind of, it was a little emotional morning, so I'm not so enthusiastic. Excuse me, I'm human, y'all. I go through some shifts quite often. But anyway, so if you have any questions about the third eye, let me know. Like I said, I know this one was a bit different from, you know, what we talked about the other videos, because the other things, I guess they feel like they were more concrete, you know, like, yeah, okay, so solar plexus tied to abdomen, heart chakra tied to cardiac, yes. But when you get into these higher chakras, you're getting more into understanding divine energy of the Most High with these things. So it's more of a spiritual aspect that you need to grasp onto, and not necessarily a physical one. And again, as far as wanting your third eye open, because like I said, many people are like, ooh, I want to open my third eye. I want to open my third eye. That is great that you are focused on opening that particular chakra, but please know you need to work on your other issues. I mean, you don't want to open your mind up to these things and you're still struggling with fear, because if you're still struggling with fear, all types of fearful things is what you will see. You understand what I'm saying? And if you don't, I don't know how else to put this, because you could watch 1,000 YouTube videos, and I've watched a lot of them, and when they explain it, it's like I hear what they're saying, but it is just not clicking until you come to this own place of understanding for yourself what it truly means to have an open third eye. So yeah, that's about it, y'all. Any questions, drop them below. Tomorrow, day 7, and it is the crown chakra, and it's a very good one as well. So thank y'all again for watching this series. I truly appreciate y'all. Have a beautiful day.